All right, so I want to talk really quickly why I think ComputerShare, owning shares on there, if you're a GameStop shareholder, is more essential now than ever. Of course, I'm not trying to give you any kind of financial advice. I just want to give you my personal thoughts and opinions, but here's what it is. ComputerShare is GameStop's direct agent, right? Direct registrar agent. So basically, they issued the shares for GameStop whenever they did either a share issuance or their initial share offering, right? They're the ones that actually helped them proceed it. So when you DRS, as you so commonly hear, you're directly registering your shares. You're DRSing, right? Direct registered shares. So you're DRSing to ComputerShare. You're directly registering your shares on ComputerShare, right? That's why people say that if you're not sure what that means. So why does that matter? When your shares on ComputerShare, it cannot be shorted. It's registered in your name. Yes, you. Whereas if your shares are on a broker, such as Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, Webull, Charles Schwab, pretty much all the rest, then your shares are not actually in your name. I don't know if you know this, but they're actually owned by Fidelity, and they're for your benefit, for the benefit of you, right? But that doesn't actually mean they're owned by you directly, right? Or they should be shares allocated to you in terms of what your respective institution is. But how do you know that for sure when all the institutions at the top, you have the DTC, right? They're the ones who issue the shares and keep track of how many shares are out there. They're the only one holding the shares. How do we really know they're keeping track? How do we really know if all the institutions they work with, they actually have the proper amount of shares? If we saw now in the past, what caught our eye as retail investors, or me individually, I want to speak for myself, over 100% short interest, right? We knew, okay, maybe something fishy is going on here, something deeper, something more bizarre. Turns out, if you DRS to ComputerShare, you're out of the DTC. Those shares aren't any broker. ComputerShares, hey, they're booked to you, your shares. It's owned by you. It's in your name. So this is why this matters. And imagine it gets chaotic again. Remember last time they went as far to remove the buy button, right? Who would have thought in all of history and all of time and all of the stock market, you wouldn't be able to buy one particular security because the big dogs were shorting it they were on the other side of the trade? They constantly do things to rig the game in their favor, right? I mean, just speculating here. I don't want to speak, that could be your own personal thoughts, whatever. And retail really as a whole gets a huge win and they just stop the game and take away the buy button. It just shows you they'll do anything, right? I personally believe if it's chaotic enough where that short interest is really as high as I believe it to be, and more shares are registered in ComputerShare, right? If their shares are on ComputerShare, the insider shares, such as Ryan Cohen and the board members, that's less and less shares from the actual free float, right? And it's a smaller and smaller and smaller amount until suddenly you have still this huge demand, right? It's supply and demand. You have a huge demand of shorts to cover. So the demand is to buy a cover, to go buy a share in the market. But if the supply of shares has now shrunk down so much, because so many of them are registered in individuals' names, or they can't be shorted, or can't be lent out, or just sold multiple times over, it comes to a point, these guys that are short are all looking at it like, there's going to be no more shares soon. It literally would be all demand and like no supply. Because then imagine all the shares are registered to individuals and insiders at GameStop. What happens? Nobody knows. That's never happened. I don't even think personally it'll get to that point, because I think the window is starting to close as more and more individuals DRS to ComputerShare and more GameStop insiders buy shares, and they seem to just like the stock, That window is closing. So I think eventually these shorting hedge funds or whoever's shorting it, they're going to start to turn on each other because they're going to rush to cover. And when someone starts buying the cover, they're like, oh, I have to buy the cover. Oh my God. Now, oh, do you hear those two are buying the cover? Our short position is going to be even worse off if we don't start buying the cover now. And it'll sort of domino effect, right? That's the idea of the MOAS, the mother of all short squeezes. But who's to say they will remove the buy button? What if they remove the buy button again? They remove the sell button. If they remove the sell button, how are you going to take profits? You think ComputerShare is going to remove it? If they're registered in your name? I don't think so. The only way then would be they just take the stock off the market. And people say, oh, well, what happens then? How does, what if they just stop it? That's fraudulence of the U.S. stock market. Pretty much the biggest stock market in the whole world. The U.S. dollar, it's like, wait, what other kind of crazy stuff is going on in the U.S. stock market? The currency would lose integrity. The markets as a whole would lose integrity and just overall legitimacy. If this were to come out, oh, they just stopped GameStop trading. They basically were doing a lot of shady stuff. And now, yep, that's it. No more GameStop. It's a publicly traded company. And that's what everyone doesn't understand. This whole AMC trash. We are strong together. We are the apes. No. Oh, my gosh. I just like GameStop. I just like the stock. I like the company, what they're doing. And the point of why I always say that is because if you see what's happened with the short interest and the way they just keep attacking and attacking and attacking, short, at some point that has to unwind. And if the company just executes, they can ignore all the noise, all the mainstream media BS. If they just execute, and then I as an individual just like the stock and keep buying. And eventually there's probably going to be long funds that want to be long on what they're doing. I mean, what they're entering, gaming and the blockchain, that's a huge changing industry right now. Of course, it'll be a challenge to capture, but my point is, do you see what I'm saying? How everything flows to pressure, until eventually it's the mother of all short squeezes. I don't think we'll know right away. It'll be instant. It might take a while to unravel. There could be halts. There could be government intervention. Anything can happen. I truly believe that. I think it's totally uncharted waters we're entering. Big time. It's just insane what's going on. It really is insane. And I'm just excited to be a part of it and document my journey here for you guys. I like the stock, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Even if somehow the short interest was gone, I still think this company is going to be worth $1,000 in a few years minimum, just because what they're doing and Ryan Cohen's ability to see ahead and bring on talent and do the kinds of things they're doing, and to see what he's done with Chewy. I believe in management so much and the industry and what they're doing. So that just makes it that much easier to hold on, because I just like the stock. I like the company. I like the fundamentals. Over $1 billion in cash and no debt. How can you not love that? Again, not a financial advisor. It's just all my thoughts and opinions here, but that's why ComputerShare matters. Have a great day.